Integration pages generally provide an excellent opportunity for SaaS businesses to go and drive customer acquisition leveraging these exact pages. Now, the problem that I've seen is that most SaaS businesses don't put a lot of thought or strategy behind how they actually go and structure these pages. They normally do one of two things. 1, they list out the integration pages on the homepage. 2, they list out all of the integrations on one single page. Now, the problem and concern with that is generally integration pages contain high intent mid-funnel terms that can really facilitate a ton of customer signups or demos. We have an example of a client that we work with that over the past 16 months, they've driven over 10,000 organic clicks to their individual integration pages. And off the back of that, with close to a double-figure conversion rate simply from properly structuring these pages. Now, in this video, I'm going to do a mini case study and teardown of a business that most of us know and how they use and leverage integration pages to fuel their customer acquisition. Let's dive in. So I want to start by talking about the importance of integration pages in the SaaS space and then get into how you can actually leverage integration pages to drive customer acquisition. Because if there's one thing that's true and one thing that I've noticed with a lot of the prospects and a lot of clients that we worked with is that in a lot of cases, they don't actually go and properly leverage their integration pages to go and rank in search when that can be extremely high intent and actually drive conversions for the business. I think there are like two real cases here where this happens in terms of like what happens when integrations get published to the website, right? So first of all, SaaS businesses, they go and they simply list out their integrations on the homepage. So maybe they have 10 or 20 different integrations and they just list them out. There's no real individual integrations page itself. It's just maybe a logo on the homepage. That's one common case. And another common case is that they do have a singular integrations page, but all of the integrations are just listed on one single page. And the problem with both of those scenarios is that when you don't have an individual page set up for each and every integration, it makes it difficult, if not impossible, to actually go and rank for important terms and important queries where users are searching to actually integrate with. And as I have here on the deck, integration pages can provide a key opportunity for providing right fit traffic and conversions for your product. And I talked about this recently on LinkedIn as well. A client that we worked with that generated over 10,000 clicks over like a 12-month period to their individual integration pages, first of all, and they had a double conversion rate off the back of that, right? Their conversion rate was in double digits for those actual pages and customers that came through and requested a demo. So very powerful stuff. You just have to go and properly build the right structure, which I'm going to talk about, and actually build individual pages in a meaningful way. Taking it a step further, if we look at the actual architecture and the structure of these pages, so how can you actually treat and turn these pages into a customer acquisition source? First of all, by breaking your integrations down into categories, you can go and create a singular hub page, which allows for filtering, kind of slicing and dicing and going into different categories. So number one is really important, I would say, if you have roughly maybe 20 or 30 plus different integrations that are available for your product, right? That's when it starts to make a lot more sense to go and allow categorization and filtering of those different integrations using the hub page, which I'll show an example here in a second. The second thing is providing a solid subfolder structure for the integration pages themselves, right? So I'm a big fan of building the right URL structure for the future and also building a URL structure that helps to support our organic rankings. So how you go and actually structure the first initial subfolder and the next subfolder underneath of that, and then the third or the fourth potentially, depending on how complex this gets, that can have a huge impact on allowing search engines to better understand what these individual subfolders hold and also can help to better support internal linking, which we'll also talk about here a little bit later. Probably the third biggest thing that I think gets missed when SaaS businesses go and build these pages individually, they don't add unique content or any type of value add content to the pages themselves, right? So going and just creating the page and slapping a logo on it and having a sentence is probably not going to help it to rank, right? It's not going to allow the page to actually go and rank for integration queries. But going and building that in a structured way is what's going to allow you to map those back and gain search rankings while you're going and building these pages. So I'll talk about that here in a second as well. Let's take a look at Zapier here as a quick example. Everybody, I think, knows Zapier, and they have quite an extensive library of integrations that they support both across a large amount of categories, right? So I love the example of the hub page here that Zapier has built out for a few different reasons. First of all, as you can see, they have 6,213 different applications that they support. So that's quite a large amount. And in many cases, I think that probably most SaaS products won't have that many. But what makes this super comfortable is they allow you to search for an actual integration itself. So that is just a great functionality to have when you have such an extensive library of potential integrations that you support, and you make it as easy as possible from the user perspective to go and actually search. The other thing that I like is they allow you to sort by different types of predefined categories, right? So show me the top 100 supported integrations or apps. Show me premium, show me beta, show me recently launched, right? Over time, this is something that you can go and build based on demand, and you can also go and build based on business logic around what your users are likely trying to find off the back of this page. Going back to the point around categories, you'll see here that, again, Zapier breaks this out by different categories, right? So if I go underneath of artificial intelligence, I can specifically look at all artificial intelligence tools, or I can look at specifically AI tools. And this kind of goes down through the list. Okay, show me business intelligence. I'm looking for specifically analytics, right? I only want to see tools that are specifically falling under the category of analytics, right? So then they filter it out by top, et cetera, et cetera. And you'll also notice here, interestingly enough, that the way they've structured the URL, right? So this is the hub, right? This is the hub of their integration pages. I'm going to go forward again here just to show you. You'll see that they've added a subfolder here called categories. And then underneath they have analytics, right? So that is a great setup from a URL structure to allow search engines to also allow users to understand where they're at and where they're navigating to. Now, if we drill down a little bit further, and if I was to actually click on one of these so-called apps or integrations that Zapier supports, you'll notice again that the URL structure has changed, right? So the category is, of course, no longer there. We have the subfolder apps, we have Google Analytics, and this is where it gets really cool. Then we have integrations. Now, if I was to go and choose a specific integration that I want to pair with, so say I want to integrate Google Analytics with LinkedIn ads, what happens is LinkedIn ads now shows up in the URL structure, and we have a very, very clean URL structure, Google Analytics, integrations, LinkedIn ads. So you'll notice also throughout the structure of the content, the target of this so-called double integration page is that it's built for users that are looking to integrate two different platforms. So Google Analytics and LinkedIn ads integrations, right? That would be a typical search query. And that is specifically what Zapier is targeting here, as well as how to connect Google Analytics and LinkedIn ads, right? Those are their two kind of target queries. Again, software one, software two integrations, as well as how to connect software one and software two. So a very logical and meaningful URL structure they've built, as well as the actual page structure as well, which I want to take the time to talk a little bit here. So if we take a look at how they've gone and structured these pages to actually create a great user experience, just jumping back here to the Google Analytics page, for example, right? So this is the single integration. Somebody that's searching for Google Analytics integrations, right, is specifically what this page is targeting. So they do some very interesting things here from the user perspective, right? First of all, huge call to action right in front of your face, right? Connect Google Analytics to 5,000 plus apps. Yeah, that's what I want to do. Sign me up right now, right? They talk about their value of signing up as well. So forever free, core features, 14-day free trial. They have a search functionality here, as well as they show the top most common applications that this app integrates with, right? So Facebook lead ads, Gmail, Slack, et cetera, et cetera. And that is all above the fold. So that all speaks specifically to what the user would envision and want to specifically see when they hit this page. And if you scroll down, you'll notice as well that then they get into showing, well, here's all of our potential integrations. Here's everything we do. Here are the actions, here are the triggers, and a call to action. So this is an example of creating an integrations page that adds value to the user and pushes them to take an action and pushes them in the right direction to find what they're looking for, as well as being built from an SEO perspective, right? They have content depth on this page. They have internal links on this page, and they've built this in a structured manner where they target their primary keyword and those power factors in the each one in the title and the meta description, right? Within the content, and they built this in such an amazing way that it is a great all-around user experience. And the same thing holds true as you kind of take a look at the double integration. So somebody that's searching again for Google Analytics and Facebook lead ads integrations, they hit this page and we want to show what's relevant for them here. So here's how you connect it. Interactive tool, here's what you can do. Here's the trigger, here's the action. Again, here's the trigger and actions. Everything we support step-by-step, our tutorials on both sides, and then diving in further in a CTA, right? So these are all of these little things are so meaningful from the user perspective, but also from the search perspective as well. So taking a look at this, and I have a breakdown here quickly, like looking at above the fold, they utilize breadcrumbs and category or categories in the above the fold for breadcrumbs and internal linking. They're obviously hitting on the primary keyword in the H1, headline, value prop, CTA. They also utilize social proof. They show their double integrations. There's search functionality for larger data sets and a use of pagination for displaying integrations as well. Then you get into below the fold. We take a look at a description of how it works, core features, FAQ in some cases, and a CTA plus more proof. Just a beautiful design, again, from the search and from the user perspective of how you can go and actually build a library and build a structure and build pages that add value and help users to actually go and take an action. So the question is, how can you go and start to leverage integration pages yourself, right? And how do you start to ideate potentially what makes sense to go and create? When I say that, what I mean is you clearly probably have, if you're watching this video, already a set of maybe 3 or 5 or 10 or 30 or 500 integrations that your product supports. But another great use case of this is actually building the pages first, building the integration pages first, getting them to rank, and then seeing if you can drive conversions off the back of those pages before the integration even exists, right? This is a great way to basically test demand, assuming you can get it to rank without paying for ads, right? Or without having to put a ton of time and effort into this. You can go and build 20, 30, 50, 100 integrations and then rank those for the right queries and right terms, and then see if there's demand. So I think this is a great way to go and leverage this. And if we take a look at a few different ways to ideate, first and obvious one to me is sales conversations. Customers and prospects are always the best source of understanding what you should be doing from a content perspective, from a lot of times from a product perspective as well. So listen to those sales conversations, ask sales colleagues, right? Are there requests coming in for specific integrations? And if so, this could be a good use case for going and starting to build these out and really test the demand. That's number one. Number two is Google Search Console data. So you can also leverage existing Google Search Console data to find insights. If you have existing pages that are ranking too well, or you have mentions of some of those integrations and they're not quite built yet, you can leverage that data, understand that there's demand. And number three is competitor data. So you can take a look at close competitors, see what integrations they support, and rinse and repeat on that process. Maybe you're not sure yet if there's specific demand and you have a slightly different audience at hand. Well, you can go and build these to test this out. You can have the 100 integrations that you support, and here are 20 beta work in progress, sign up to get information once it launches integration pages. The call to action doesn't have to take them directly into sign up if it doesn't exist yet. This can be a way to test demand for that particular integration. So if you've been sleeping on integration pages, this is a great opportunity to go and start to build these and start to leverage this as a customer acquisition method. And again, remember to build those individual integrations on their own page and in a structured manner like I spoke about in this video. And that's going to give you the flexibility for the future if this expands into dozens or hundreds of integrations, where now you'll have the right structure to support everything from a ranking perspective.